About an hour and a half. 7 hours. And it's
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Convention War Stories. My name is AnthrOhio. I'm going to be joined up here by Ed the Hyena in just a little bit. From what I understand, he's just running late from another panel, which brings us to the first Convention War Story, that con nobody slept at. So here's the rules for this. Myself and the people who will be joining me up on stage have been running conventions for quite some time. Ed, once you meet him, is the director of operations at, I believe at this point, Infinity Conventions. Every convention you go to, you look into operations, and he is sitting there looking tired. That means he runs operations. See, it's very simple to tell what people do by how much they're crying at all times. There was a convention recently that had, and by the way, these aren't suggestions. Everything we're telling you today is for fun. This is not a how-to manual on how to make your board of directors want to kill themselves. Please do not take it as such, as happened at AnthrOhio 4 years ago. That was my all-time favorite Convention War Stories panel. Uncle Kage told 2 stories at his own convention. Both of them happened again last night. He did not do this panel for about a year. So, kind of funny for me, less funny for him. But we did have a convention recently that one of my all-time favorites happened at, because sleep is important. I haven't gotten any yet. How about you guys? That was the wrong answer. So it was like, yes, we are responsible adults. Instead, we're children who wear animal costumes. It's legitimate though. We are children who wear animal costumes. Every night at midnight, I look at my watch and go, it is time for me to retire. At a convention, I go, I challenge the night, and then I drink, and then it's Monday. I think that's less childlike than I pictured in my head. Christmas got weird at my house. Well, we had a convention that had everybody's favorite event, the fire alarm. Oh, the fire alarm. I hate the fire alarm. We try until I get drunk enough to not say the con that it happened at. We will say it's a Midwestern con, and yes. So, I know you were, I can tell you were there, you still have bags under your eyes. Well, every once in a while, the universe conspires against a convention, and this time, what time do furries generally go to bed? This has actually been studied. What time do you think is the average time for a furry to go to bed at a convention? What do you think? You're very close. It's between 1 and 2. It's like 1:43 or something like that. So that's the average.
They go to bed?
Sometimes. I mean, passing out in the hallway is technically sleeping, okay? Please don't pass out in the hallway. I have to correct myself way too much. No, don't pass out in the hallway. Are you raising your leg? I will pass out in the hallway. I'm fine. Yes. Do not volunteer as tribute to the hallway. The hallway does not need tribute. Your bed needs tribute, which sounds dirtier than I imagined. The first fire alarm went off at about 1 in the morning, which means a little under half the convention was already in bed. This fire alarm went off long enough that everyone had to get out of bed and go to the outside world, some of which put clothes on, most of which at least covered their shame, and one of which who had a very revealing robe. I'll let you guess which one I was. That was at 1 in the morning. Well, false alarm, go back to bed. Everyone at our convention was awake at 1 in the morning. And then again at 7 in the morning, where we had take 2 of Fire Alarm Catastrophe, starring me laying in bed going, let it take me. Let me burn. And Dragor, the person I have now put in charge of Fur Square, looking for me, you need to set an example. I'm like, my example will be charred and rested. So we got out of bed again at 6 a.m., went back outside, and then the convention started happening, and something magical happened, because what's the old saying? If life gives you lemons, you take those lemons and shove it up life's ass. And then when life farts, you get tasty, tasty lemonade. That's not how lemonade works, but so I'm drinking it from now on. Well, something beautiful happened, because that night, we broke the average. And as myself and my security team were walking around at 10 p.m., we realized that almost the entire convention was already in bed. And I looked over at the head of security, and he looked at me and goes, "So you want to set off a fire alarm at 1 a.m.? And I thought about it. Because sometimes we just want you guys to go to bed. We actually make events sometimes with that in mind. Right? All right, who are going to be the problem people? Basically, anyone who listens to me is going to be a problem. That's how we sort you guys. Do they go to alkalized panels? They drink. That's the end of it. Except, we actually did have a problem. One younger person came up to me. It was so adorable. "I really like your panels." "Oh, thank you. But I really don't like how you try to make drinking look sexy."
I'm sorry, what?
One moment. Oh, yeah. So, do you want to drink now? No? AA. Well, we do form panels based off of how we can give you guys the most entertainment, how we can keep you guys awake and entertained during the day, and how we can knock you the hell out by about midnight. And we realized that if we get you to drink the exact right amount, you'll go to bed. But if we're a little over, you'll burn down the hotel. So it's a balancing act in my mind. And one convention they let me try it. Who here knows what King's Cup is? Some of you know King's Cup. King's Cup is a very simple game. Allow me to explain it to you. You get a deck of cards. You surround this deck of cards, you use this deck of cards to surround a center cup. And in this center cup, you put, I don't know, poison, basically. The worst alcohol you can find. Our alcohol is called Goblin Rocket Fuel. It is made from whenever I have a bottle at home that has less than a shot in it. I then take that bottle and pour it into the Goblin Rocket Fuel bottle. And then it curdles. And then we drink it. And then you go to bed. It worked once. Second time it didn't. Because there's a rule in King's Cup, and that's for the final king. So as we're drawing cards, the final king gets drawn, that person gets to make the final rule of the game. And the player in that game made the final rule, and his rule was, final rule, we will play another game. That's legit. So we played the first game at 11. The second game was over at 11:45, and guess who won? Him again. So we played another game, and then we had drunken revelry time, because guess what? That hotel didn't lock its pool.
Oh no.
The weird thing is, the hotel was very proud of us, because at one point, a security officer from the hotel came walking into the pool area, which had supposedly been closed since 10 p.m. It was 1 in the morning, and we look up, and there's a security guard. And I look to my side, and my friend is not wearing pants. And we look back at him, and he goes, "I'm just glad there's not a bunch of fur clogging the filters. Carry on," and walked out of the room. So don't try that, but every once in a while, just be honest, it works better. Honesty is legitimately the best policy at a convention. Most of the times when we have escalating issues, these problems stem from somebody being rude. Don't be rude to security. Don't be rude to hotel staff. Just don't be rude. But somebody once took that to an extreme. You see, I am the convention chairman of First Squared, a small convention in Wisconsin. And we had an incident our first year. I know! You were thinking running a convention the first year must be so fun and easy and non-life-threatening. You're wrong. I got a call at 10 a.m. from the hotel saying, Mr. Smith, housekeeping just called us. They found something a little disturbing in one of the rooms. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, poop. Literally. Is it poop? She said, no, it's a stripper pole. I'll be right there. Well, the cleaning lady had walked into a room in order to clean, and instead found that somebody had done a minor construction project. Because they had bolted the damn thing in, ceiling and floor. Power tools in the room. And I'm mortified. And I go to the hotel, I'm like, so sorry, what do you need? Like, oh, don't worry about it. The kid came back to the room while we were in there. And we confronted him, like, oh, what happened? I said, well, we explained to him, you can't do that. And he said, I know, how much? And they said, well, the repair alone will be $1,200. He said, yeah, that's about how much we collected last night, and gave them cash. Well, my hotel's not angry at me. I have a new story to tell at Convention Horror Stories. And also there's a stripper pole in a room for a weekend, so I'd say this is an A+. Good effort, guys, good effort. I'm standing in the lobby Monday morning. I am there with the general manager of the hotel. And we are having a discussion, all smiles. It was a good first year. And he looked at me and he said, so, did you hear about the stripper pole? Like, yeah, I did. Kind of wild, isn't it? And behind me I hear, the kid who set up the stripper pole was waiting to talk to me, standing behind me and the general manager as we were talking about him. The general manager turned around and looked back at me and went, is that him? I went, yeah, he goes, hold on, and he ran after him. Like, okay. I got an email from him later. They gave him a free room for being polite. I explained to the hotel that this is how you get stripper poles put up into the room. He goes, dude, that only cost $800 to repair. We're up $400. I think we're in the... So that's how they get you. Watch out. My friend, how are you doing? Why is security staring at me? Am I not supposed to have this on the table? I haven't read the rules yet. Can I? Hold on. There. This is like the worst shell game. Or the best. I win. There, no one knows. Sorry, security. I do apologize. This panel was not supposed to be me just rambling up here, but I am missing everyone. Literally everyone. Pandez and Ed! It didn't work. I was really hoping that would work. You see, myself, Pandez, and Ed run conventions together, and one of those cons is Indie FurCon. Thank you. We've been doing Indie FurCon for an eternity, I think. I helped out with logistics there. In fact, my roommate, if you know him, Miko, is the director of logistics at 2 conventions. He keeps the truck organized, and then he tells me what is broken. And 2 years ago, he got to tell me in a very mouse-like way, because apparently our logistics team decided to play dominoes. I don't know exactly how it happened, but there was a catastrophe of epic proportions involving TVs that fell bam, 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 bam. The last one just kind of fell out of the truck. So there he is, Ed! Thank you! Save me! Guys, give it up for Ed the Hyena! Just calm down. There he is. Hold on, I got you. Microphone 2. Just lay there. There you go.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, we're in AV.
We broke AV?
Yes.
We broke AV already. How about microphone? No, you never get to talk. Oh, good. I'm really glad the monitors where I'm just staring at my crotch. Thanks. Your monitors were definitely worthwhile. You don't get to talk, apparently. Would you get in a chair?
No.
This is what we call having a con start on Thursday and trying to make it through Friday. How are you, Ed?
I'm wearing a tie.
You're not wearing it properly, I can tell you that. What is this?
This is as professional as I... Hello? Okay.
It works.
This is as professional as I get. I'm wearing a... Oh, it is coming off.
Do you want to play the shell game?
Sure.
All right. Pick a shell.
Boxell is a shell corporation.
I don't know where you were going with it, but here's beer! Hair of the dog. Hair of the dog. Hair of the dog. Woof. Hair of the dog. Woof. I'm bad influence.
Is Silver Gatamon in here?
Yes. Silver, we're going to work together and just make a compilation of Ed drinking.
Nope.
We're going to call it Convention Running 101, and then just play the theme for Pee Wee Herman. Dun, 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 and just him sadly drinking a beer.
Hey, everybody, if you want a special commemorative pin, you could go to the... Where's the camera? Look, if you go to the charity for this lovely $20 pin from Persona Pins, it has Dawn and Dash in a chart that actually represents our charity donation growth over the past few years. Notice how it just shoots up at the right side.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. So that's pretty much the theme of this is I don't know what happened.
All right, so let's do some quick fires. Failed convention themes, or let's not do that convention theme. What's a convention theme you thought of that you didn't do but beforehand? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Panelist!
I thought we weren't making fun of that convention.
Okay, don't make fun of that convention.
Black Mole.
Test.
I believe a convention that we are all very familiar with once gave out badges shaped like a red spaceship. You know, exactly like a red rocket.
I believe that a con that we know about had a submitted theme of Wolfenstein with special guest Dio.
What?
It did not win.
My convention, we do to pick out our theme. We actually take half an hour at every meeting. Every theme gets put on the board, and then every person at the meeting can come up and pitch their idea for anything on the board. And one year at First Squared, humans came in third place. Just humanity. Because somebody put it on the board, and I forgot who went up, but they gave a very empowered speech. Like, guys, imagine it. What if they all buy latex fuck dolls and just put them on over their fursuits?
What is the rating of this panel, by the way?
Latex cuddle dolls and put them over their fursuits.
Thank you.
Cuddling is fine.
I believe that Dorsai was in the room when someone suggested Pirates versus Ninjas at FCN, and they just said no.
So, MFF did a theme Pirates one year. And that's when I found out, I don't know if you guys know this about me, I'm an ex-LARP, I still do it every once in a while, I LARP quite a bit. And at one of my LARPs, they built, out of a larger rowboat, a pirate ship on wheels for like 3 people. It was a fun rep, but more importantly, it had an air cannon. And I tried to borrow it. MFF told me no, because all I wanted to do was go to Bad Dragon, load the cannon with their wares, because they have suction cups on the end.
PG-13.
That's I'm not, I kept it.
Okay.
That's like PG-14. 14, if you're 13 years old, grow up a little bit, would you? All I wanted to do was try, because their operations at the time had a big old window right in front. And I just wanted, like, Data Hawk to be looking outside like, oh, Sunday of a con, what else could go wrong? And from outside, you just hear the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, dun-dun-dun, 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 and here comes a ship past the window, and we just shoot like 40 dicks into the room.
PG-13.
Felt like objects into the room. And I just wanted 2 or 3 of them to stick to the whiteboard, just as the pirate ship slowly sails away on more adventures.
Note to programming. If Alkali is involved, it's at least PG-17.
My theme ideas are bad. Are you okay? You doing okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good.
5 phallic-shaped things. Des, did you have any great convention themes that did or did not get chosen? You've ever heard one that you're like, oh no?
Not that I can think of. I'm racking my brain trying to think if there was anything.
I think we're usually like hungover at most of our convention meetings.
We plan like 2 or 3 years out for IFC and for IFC. And we were like, yeah, we got this con that year, this con that year, this theme this year, this theme that year, this theme. So it's not like 6 months before the con, let's think of something,
Well, we're 1 year out. First Squared always chooses their theme at the meeting right after a convention. So we have the convention, we pick our theme for the following year, because obviously the next year's already chosen. And we ran into a problem this year, but I have permission to talk about this. Normally on this panel, we don't talk about anything that happened in the last year unless we get permission from everyone. All the other cons gave me permission, so they're dumb. We picked Cyber Skunk, based off of Cyberpunk, along with BLFC, and like 4 other conventions.
I believe technically it's 3 other conventions.
Is it 3? Did one of them finally drop it or maybe die from cyber skunkiness?
So it's further confusion.
Yes.
It's First Square.
Yes.
It's BLFC. And then a 4th con that has not yet been announced.
Okay, I was wondering if they said it yet. So there are 4 cons doing this. So instead of us being like, why don't we change it? We all called each other. It's like, hey, want to do a joint theme? And we all said, no, let's do it anyway. So now we're working on a joint theme, and I hate Telegram. The planning for... Here's the problem. If you get into convention planning, that means that you have an idea. That means that you have something that you want to bring into this fandom, and you're going to use that to make a convention, and I cannot recommend it enough. Go out there, volunteer, join staff, get up to the board, and shape a convention the way you want it. But for the love of... I caught myself. But for the love of God, thank you. Do not try to plan a convention with 4 other people who all know how to run conventions. You don't work well together sometimes. The arguments we have had, down to nitty-gritty details, up to and including, and I quote, cutlery available at the convention needs to be on theme. We're going too far, and I love it, but I'm going to set my phone on fire.
Alkali, I've already gotten into planning conventions.
I know you have.
Okay.
You've been here for quite some time. You can tell. Guys, he's only 21 years old. Just so you know, this is what running conventions does to you.
It does. Wait, do I not look 21?
Back to the audience. Hi, guys.
All of us are in our 20s up here.
No, you look 20 and a half.
I want to say so many things.
Wait, how old do I have to be to drink?
21.
21, okay, I'm 21. Okay.
How old do you have to be to drink, or how old do you have to be to drink legally, are 2 very different questions.
Well, it's on camera, legally.
It's on camera.
The law requires that I answer no.
You seem very calm saying the sentence, the law requires that I answer no. You should work for a convention. Pandas!
Hello.
IFC has been going on for quite some time. I've already told 1 or 2 quick stories. Would you like to regale us with a tale from the IFC past, or quite frankly, any convention? Convention horror stories.
What's IFC calling their cyberpunk theme?
I think they chose something different.
Oh yeah, we've got a couple themes lined up, but none of them are cyber-ish.
Was.
Oh my goodness. Have you told any that are IFC related?
Not really. No one suspects anything. The most subtle hyena on the planet.
So at this one convention, the chair was drinking Yingling on stage with alkaline.
Isn't that how convention starts?
No, that's how conventions end. It was very fun. I was invited to Youmacon last year. No. I had a blast, but I did something wrong. You see, in Michigan, it is perfectly legal to consume fizzy cherry cola. And if you don't know what fizzy cherry cola is, it comes in like a cigarette-looking thing and it smells like marijuana. So, I had found a few friends. It is perfectly legal where we are at. We go outside, and walking past us, sniffing the air and looking directly at me is the gentleman who introduced me on stage, a Mr. John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem. And he comes over to me and goes, "Son, are you smoking illegal narcotics?" And I said, "No, sir, I'm smoking very legal narcotics." He goes, "Good, give me some." So I started smoking with Duke Nukem and his wife. And then I found out something the next day, when every panel was an hour and a half late. Some people have titles. John St. John's title is Duke Nukem. John St. John's wife's title? Chairman.
What?
I destroyed one of the board members for Youmacon. And I don't mean like we had some fun and then we went to bed. We had some fun and we're trying to figure out what was wrong with our eyes. You know what was wrong with our eyes? The sun was coming up. And we didn't understand. And then we went to bed.
And of course, you are the first people in history to get so stoned you missed the sunrise in downtown Detroit.
It was hazy in all regards.
I did not have nearly as much of a good time at Youmacon.
You should have found me.
I couldn't because I was part of the wedding party.
Oh my God.
Did you not know this?
I didn't know you were part of that.
So, my brother decided to get married in a lovely Greek Orthodox church. If you ever get the chance to look at a Greek Orthodox church, it is lavish. We're talking gold leaf everything. There are like so many actually well-drawn paintings of Jesus as opposed to the depressing stuff you normally see. And then we went to our dinner reception in the hotel that was hosting Youmacon, the largest anime convention in the States. My brother did not know this was going on. I did. We walk in. Some people are looking very puzzled. Some people are puzzled, but like, okay, this is whatever. You know, it's fine. And then I had one relative that was like, I saw a girl and I think it was a guy. And I'm like, yeah, that happens sometimes. That's, welcome to the 21st century, buddy. And his response was, the next thing you're going to tell me is that these are all doctors and lawyers and scientists. And I was like, well, there's Dr. Kage. So, yes, there are scientists and doctors and lawyers here.
I
tried to get away. I went to the second floor of the Rensen. By the way, if you ever want to go anywhere, don't go to the second floor of the Rensen because it does not lead anywhere.
Do you know why?
It's a union-busting tactic.
Yes. The place where Youmacon is held, the building is designed to confuse mobs. This is not a joke. When you walk around Youmacon, if you stop following the signs, you will find yourself staring at a brick wall trying to figure out how to get past it. It's a real thing and awesome. I got so lost at Youmacon with Kage, we had to take a wine break. Do you know what happens when you have to take a wine break with Kage? It never ends. That's just when you start drinking and then the convention ends and you hug and you talk to each other in a month.
The only saving grace for me there was that the director of programming for MCFC looked up and said, "Ed, what are you doing here? And then why are you up there?" And they helped me get down and find like actual people. I had to escape at another point and I started walking around the hotel. I was behind Kage and Ronnie and they turned around like, "What are you doing here? And why are you wearing a suit?" And Kage was gracious enough to let me have some sake so that I could return to the party and retain my sanity. I was texting Adi, like, "We don't have a DJ, come help." It was quite strange, and I felt in my element and simultaneously not in my element, because here I am hanging out with the stiffs. The normal people, while all the other people are outside having fun.
Aww.
Youmacon was great just because he and I were walking around and getting pictures with all the fursuiters. And we were all like, "Are you a furry? Is this, what do you call it, a fursuit?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is my fursuit. Can we get a picture with you?" They had no idea.
No, it worked about half the time, yeah. Every once in a while, they're like, "Alkali and band," like, you guys, every once in a while, like, "Absolutely, can we tell you a little bit about the fandom?" We're like, "Yes." Please describe it to us. I have news for you. Apparently, about 50% of you have no idea what the furry fandom is. And one in 10
PG-13 panel.
That's why I stopped talking about it, because 1 in 10 of you should never talk about it again. The description was scary.
Yes.
IFC, First Squared, MCFC, almost every Midwest con, Canada conventions, you've been to all of them.
Quite a few.
Regale us with a tale of woe from your convention past.
Oh. Who?
So about one exit down on the freeway at the Ramada. No, Des, you go instead.
I was like, I don't know this story. Am I supposed to be involved in it?
No.
Okay, so quick, I don't know if you did this at the beginning or not. So who's new to Con Horror Story panel today?
Who's never seen
this panel?
Oh, wow.
Okay, so there's a few of you in here. Okay, so I could go with a couple of the old classics
Yeah,
then,
go for
to regale the new crowd. Let's see. It's tough to do the frat boy one in a PG one.
Catch us later when we're drinking and we'll tell you how frat boys were screaming swear words at a convention.
Drink blank blank drink blank blank drink blank blank drink.
We could do what led up to that.
I'll tell you what, if he tells a story, I'll tell you his fire alarm story. Sound good? Yeah. Just to make fun here.
So we at IFC, I want to say it was 2010?
Which one are we talking about?
The frat boy.
2012.
2012? You're right, 2010 was year one, so yeah, no, it was 2012.
That would have been a bad first year.
2012 was our first year at the Sheraton, so this was, yeah. So we were sharing the space. We had a lot of space and hotel rooms at this particular hotel. So we were splitting it with another event. We had some of the space, and an order of fraternity brothers had the other space. They were having a big event there. And as can happen with two groups, sometimes they don't quite mingle very well. The furries were just trying to stay in their space and do their thing, and it's like, okay, you guys have your con, we'll have ours. But you have to share the same elevator system. And apparently the frat boys didn't appreciate this. So there was a lot of, kind of like, furries, go away, stupid furries, like just nagging all weekend, and people coming to con-ops going, hey, reporting all these events. But it culminated with a couple of furries waiting in line for the elevator. It opens up, and there's a few of the frat boys in there. And the furries try to get on, and the frat boys were like, "No, you may not get on the elevator." And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, "No, you can't get on." And as the doors are closing, one of the frat boys yells, "You ain't Rosa Parks, you're not getting on this bus."
I'm sorry, what?
That is the proper response to that.
She didn't have a problem getting on the bus.
Not the point. So, we called our hotel. Anyway, you can't hear that because PG-13. So,
They can all read lips, they're furries, accept it.
so we called in our hotel liaison, a young African-American woman by the name of Tanya. And we told her all about all the issues we were having. And we got to the last bit, so then there was this last one where some furries were trying to get on the elevator, and the frat boys were like, "You ain't Rosa Parks, you're not getting on this bus." And I shall reenact exactly what happened. Oh, hell no. And she was dumb. Like, we were like, "No way." She was off like the Flash. And
The director of finance described it as there was just a little smoke cloud where she used to be, and he started closing out the books for the convention.
So about half an hour later, there were signs all over, "Emergency meeting, all members of the fraternity convention, ballroom, whatever, in 30 minutes, be there." After that, there were no more issues. Sort of.
Sort of.
You see, they decided, okay, fine, we'll leave them alone. We won't interact with them. That's fine. And then something happened, and they started to interact again. You see, there was a table about twice as big as this one in the main lobby, filled with places to plug in your laptop and stuff, and a little business center in the middle of the lobby there. But of course, it was being used as a place to consume beverages, because it was also next to the bar. And there were a bunch of the frat boys along one side, and we're all hanging out, having a good time. And a couple furries started walking in from outside, from being outside to cool off, and they were like, "Sit down." Okay, so they sat down and just all started drinking, and then the frat boys started going, "Take it off, take it off, take it off," meaning their fursuit heads. So they were like, meh. Drinking goes on for about a minute or two, and the furries look at each other and go, "Put them on, put them on, put them on." Now, I cannot describe this scene from my point of view because of the story he'll tell later. But as it was described to me and can be seen on a YouTube video, which Frat Boy Furry Indie FurCon 2012. Anyway, picture this: about an hour and a half of more frat boys coming up, more furries coming up, more frat boys coming up, more furries coming up. We're getting out of a panel at like midnight at this point. We had done MST3K for the very first time. Battlefield. Expletive Earth. PG-13.
PG-13.
Center screenplay.
Center screenplay. Anyway.
We'll explain that in a minute.
So our head of finance decides to walk out towards the top of the second floor where the stairs and the escalator come up, where you can look down over the lobby. And as he's approaching that, he can hear, "Drink, mother, drink, mother, drink, mother, drink," chanted by hundreds of people. And as a board member, he goes, "I should probably check this out." And he looks down over and sees the crowd of frat boys and the crowd of furries all drinking and chanting and getting along and creating a lot of noise. If you could hear it from down the hall on the second floor, all the way from the lobby, and in the YouTube video, you can hear it in the elevator from about the 5th floor going downwards.
I wandered over and saw the head of security, the head of the door side there, and just said, "Don't worry about it. Your medic is right there in the front row." What? He jumped in to say something I can't repeat.
And the head of finance, he looks up, and across on the second floor, there was a little balcony outside of the con-ops room where you could look down as well. And there was one of the senior door side. And the head of finance, Todd, he just goes, and security's like, and is pointing at the front desk. And Todd turns to look at the front desk, and the members of the front desk are laughing and taking pictures. He finally gets their attention, like, and they're like, he actually went down to talk to them. They're like, they've finally started getting along for the first time all weekend. Let them drink.
I did appreciate, because they were drinking, this was a drinking game that they had played quite a bit at their frat. They were drinking from some kind of a frat trophy that they were pouring a beer into and then sharing amongst their frat brothers and then sharing with the furries, which was wonderful. But as he was walking past, the frat boys tried to stop Uncle Kage. Now, if you've ever been to IFC, we have a gift for Uncle Kage. This gift is a wine glass about this tall that holds 4.5 bottles of wine?
More than that, but we don't let it hold more than that.
That's true.
It will break the stem if you let it hold more than that.
So the frat boys started yelling at Kage to drink, and for a moment, I guess there was silence as he stared them down, looked at his wine glass that Ronnie told me had 1.5 bottles of wine in it, and chugged it.
Completely.
As he finished, he daintily, because like me, Uncle Kage carries around a small handkerchief, daintily looked at the frat boys and said, "Amateurs," and walked away.
There's college drinking and then there's graduate school drinking.
That's
And
right.
they are very different levels. They were also using a fursuit head as the beer helmet. They were passing the head along,
Yep.
put the head on, drink, pass the head to the next person.
Yeah, we can't do the chant that they were doing here, but if you look up Furry Frat Boy 2012 Indie FurCon, you can hear the whole chant. If you're a parent, don't let the kids hear.
Or if you want to know it live, find us after midnight tonight when Boozy gets here. We plan on drinking and chanting a lot of things, so.
What?
Boozy will be here tonight.
No, I meant the other part.
Drinking and chanting? You can tell it's your con because you have sighed like 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a story to regale us with before I tell the first MST3K.
Oh, yes, but which one do I go with?
You have so many good ones. You legitimately do. You've been doing this too long.
So the very first MFF
Okay.
was scheduled at the same time as a military leadership convention. They were not cosplaying. These were actually military officers getting together in a hotel. They were also drinking, I assume.
They were.
Joining us for our dances, having a good old time, returning the next year with tails, in some cases that they had bought and in some cases that they had made, and entering the dance wearing tails and full military dress uniform. The military people, they were great to hang out with and party with. They were a good old time. The wedding party, the second year of MFF, however, was less of a good time, as someone sits down to what I can only describe as G.I. Joe as a bear. Wait, is that PG? Yeah, whatever. Throws an arm around him and says, "I'm sick of all this furry F-word S word. Ugh. Tries to French this man, and I just... So cameras used to be these things that you pull out and actually like push a button and it clicked and it kind of shuddered and everything.
You're so old.
So I pull this out, take a picture of the drunken best man of the wedding trying to make out with another man, and he says, if I find that picture on the internet, I'm gonna kill you. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. How do you get a picture on the internet anyways? Like, this is completely preposterous. That man did not stop drinking at that point, even though he had clearly sunk into a new low for himself, I guess. I don't know. And the next time he was spotted, he was on top of a Dalmatian fursuiter who was on all fours. And he was helping him with the Heimlich. He was helping the fursuiter with the Heimlich in the lobby. In the main lobby, like within view of the front desk and everything, and you're just like, I guess he's gotten over himself. Should we bring him back to the wedding? Like, nah, he's having fun. Nah, he's having fun.
MFF has been around for a while. You'd be shocked at the amount of stories that have come from the con with that kind of longevity. But it also created one of my all-time favorite nonviolent protests. I am a firm believer of nonviolent protest. Violence is crazy and stupid. And I was incredibly proud of the fandom when a hotel was legitimately screwing with us. Oh yeah. This hotel, we were there for 1 year.
Two.
We were there for 1 year before we decided we are definitely not going to be at this hotel anymore. It was horrible. It did not suit our needs, but unfortunately we had a 2-year contract with them. We had to be there the second year, and it kind of got out to the fandom that we weren't going to be there for a 3rd year. Now, they were very happy about this. The hotel, however, was not. The hotel went out and got outside security. And I don't mean they got a few police officers to walk around. I mean they hired a team with 5 to 10 people on at any given time, walking around the convention and, quite frankly, bothering the con attendees. If there's something going on and they need to deal with it, they have every right to. They are stopping people and making them give them their sodas so they can sniff them. They are searching backpacks, which most of us were not allowing. Things like that were going on, and I was getting worried along with the rest of the board of directors. But then the furries did something amazing. He just remembered what we did. You see, these cops smelled every single drink that people were walking around with. And the furries, and I don't mean 1 or 2, I mean a large contingent of furries all went and got coffees. They drank their coffees, they enjoyed their coffees. Then they peed into those cups. By Sunday, they weren't checking drinks no more. I had a very good con.
Was that also the year that they had Stairway Appreciation Duty?
That was Stairway Appreciation Duty, yes.
Oh, gosh.
I don't do you remember why? I know what happened, I don't remember why it started.
So, somebody, MFF used to, no longer does, have a tradition of someone being supremely dumb and tripping a fire alarm.
Oh, yeah.
This year's occasion was that someone was tampering with some of the backflow system.
That's right.
And when you tamper with a fire suppression system, there's an alarm. And when the pressure drops in the fire suppression system, there's other alarms. And also it says, oh, the pressure dropped, the sprinklers must have been deployed. So there's trucks with alarms that come when that happens. And there's flashing lights in windows because that's where you evacuate. And there's fire doors that slam closed. There's all this cool stuff that happens in a hotel when they think it's on fire. And then the hotel gets very upset because they thought it was on fire and said, oh, well, these valves that we didn't lock up are the problem. You're going to have volunteers watch every one of those valves for the duration of the event. And that gave birth to what was known as Stairway Appreciation Duty.
We had, I believe if I remember correctly, 35 locations?
Roughly an entire sci-fi section of a library's worth of books in those stairways getting read at that point.
We had about 35 to 40 volunteers at all time standing alone in a stairwell. And once again, I love the fandom. As it was getting out that this was happening, teams of furries started to form that were just roving entertainment troops. And my absolute favorite, dude, you guys are amazing, and I love you for it. But my favorite one I saw, I did not get to experience myself, was a small fursuiter. Very tiny, so unassuming. And this fursuiter would just walk up and stare at them for a second. And once they made a noise, they would loudly and skillfully beatbox for about 10 minutes. And then they would go on to the next person.
Treble, I didn't know you could beatbox. This is how you do it, right? I don't know what the kids do. That's a different symbol.
Well, before we go on to MST3K, let's do a favorite of ours, out of context radio calls. You see, we all have radios. Yes. We all have radios at conventions. We hate them. We hate them so much. So we'll start with the classic. This did not happen in this con, but it did happen in this state. So, this is staff to security. Did anyone put out the fire? This is con-chair to staff. Do you mean the outdoor barbecue pit? Yes, I do. Please call it an outdoor barbecue pit. 5 minutes later. This is con-store to operations. Do you guys have any more poppers? This is con-chair to con-store. Do you mean those plastic novelty popping discs? Yes, we do. Please call them plastic novelty popping discs. Con-chair going off radio.
Does anybody that has a radio today remember what I said last night when I grabbed the wrong microphone during MST3K? Because that was probably out of context.
What was it?
I don't remember. I was doing MST3K.
It was either I don't know or I don't care, something like that.
It can be both.
It sounds about right.
This is a staff member to operations. Operations, go ahead. Should we do anything about the people juggling fire on the back patio? This is head of legal going off radio.
I do like that our solution for most of these is just go off radio.
Hey, does anybody know why there's a half-naked man upstairs? It's cool, it's just the top part. And he's throwing whipped cream at people. Shaving cream. It was shaving cream. Don't eat shaving cream.
This is security to charity? This is charity going ahead. We have a half-naked charity bear asleep on the information counter. Please advise. This is charity going off radio.
DuckTales.
Woo! That was the worst. We got nothing.
That was the best. That was the best.
Freaking DuckTales.
Woo!
Oh, we are very close. Stop. What's our next panel? Is there another panel in here?
Yeah, but this is next to Dragon Show.
You have the Dragon
Wait, what?
You have Dragon Show!
Where?
And
I have a minute to get over to Dragon Show. All right, I think we have to end this. I have no idea. I just got here.
Yeah, it's the next part.
Oh, it's right over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we actually tell you were doing a dragon show?
No, Xander did. All right. Guys, we do apologize. I had no idea we were that close on time or that we had panels right after this. Guys, as outro, if you do want to hear the MST3K story, I'll tell you what, I'll tell it on one of my panels, possibly. Dragon Show, next door, next. Ed, say goodbye. Guys, give your con chairman Ed the Hyena!
Goodbye, give it up for your concher at the hyena.
Guys, this is Lord Pandas! My name is AnthrOhio. This has been Convention Horror Stories. Thank you very much and good night.
Oh, you're the guy security told me to find.
All right, I gotta get over to my panel. Shit. I didn't know I had one right in.
Yeah, that's probably my fault.
Silver Gatoman, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gatoman, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gatoman, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.